And today we can see that future for Kenya on the horizon, but tough choices are going to have to be made in order to arrive at that destination. In the United States, I always say that what makes America exceptional is not the fact that we're perfect. It's the fact that we struggle to improve. We're self-critical. We work to live up to our highest values and ideals, knowing that we're not always going to achieve them perfectly, but we keep on trying to perfect our union. And what's true for America is also true for Kenya. You can't be complacent and accept the world just as it is. You have to imagine what the world might be and then push and work towards that future. Progress requires that you honestly confront the dark corners of our own past, extend rights and opportunities to more of your citizens, see the differences and diversity of this country as a strength, just as we in America try to see the diversity of our country as a strength and not a weakness. So you can choose the path to progress, but it requires making some important choices. First and foremost, it means continuing down the path of a strong, more inclusive, more accountable, and transparent democracy. You know, democracy begins with a peacefully elected government. It begins with elections, but it doesn't stop with elections. So your Constitution offers a roadmap to governance that's more responsive to the people through protections against unchecked power, more power in the hands of local communities. For this system to succeed, there also has to be space for citizens to exercise their rights. And we saw the strength of Kenya's civil society in the last election when groups collected reports of incitement so that violence could be stopped before it spun out of control. And the ability of citizens to organize and advocate for change, that's the oxygen upon which democracy depends. You know, democracy is sometimes messy, and for leaders, sometimes it's frustrating. Democracy means that somebody's always complaining about something. Nobody is ever happy in a democracy about their government. If you make one person happy, somebody else is unhappy. Then sometimes somebody who you made happy, later on they're now they're not happy. They say, "What have you done for me lately?" But that's the nature of democracy. That's why it works, is because it's constantly challenging leaders to up their game and to do better. And such civic participation and freedom is also essential for rooting out the cancer of corruption. Now, I want to be clear. Corruption is not unique to Kenya. I mean, I want everybody to understand that there's no country that's completely free of corruption. Certainly, here in the African continent, there are many countries that deal with this problem, and I want to assure you I speak about it wherever I go, not just here in Kenya. So I don't want everybody to get too sensitive. But the fact is, too often, here in Kenya, as is true in other places, corruption is tolerated because that's how things have always been done. People just think that that is sort of the normal state of affairs. And there was a time in the United States where that was true too. My hometown of Chicago was infamous for Al Capone and you know, the mob and organized crime corrupting law enforcement. But what happened was that over time people got fed up, and leaders stood up and they said, "We're not going to play that game anymore." And you changed the culture and you changed habits. Here in Kenya, it's time to change habits and decisively break that cycle. because corruption holds back every aspect of economic and civil life. It's an anchor that weighs you down and prevents you from achieving what you could. If you need to pay a bribe and hire somebody's brother who's not very good and doesn't come to work in order to start a business, well, that's going to create less jobs for everybody. If electricity is going to one neighborhood because they're well connected and not another neighborhood, that's going to limit development of the country as a whole. If someone in public office is taking a cut that they don't deserve, that's taking away from those who are paying their fair share. So this is not just about changing one law, although it's important to have laws on the books that are actually being enforced. It's important that not only low-level corruption is punished, but folks at the top, if they are taking from the people, that has to be addressed as well. But it's not something that is just fixed by laws or that any one person can fix. It requires a commitment by the entire nation, leaders and citizens, to change habits and to change culture. Tough laws need to be on the books. And the good news is your government is taking some important steps in the right direction. People who break the law and violate the public trust need to be prosecuted. NGOs have to be allowed to operate, who shine a spotlight on what needs to change. And ordinary people have to stand up and say, enough is enough. It's time for a better future. And as you take these steps, I promise that America will continue to be your partner in supporting investments in strong democratic institutions. Now, we're also going to work with you to pursue the second pillar of progress, and that is development that extends economic opportunity and dignity for all of Kenya's people. You know, America partners with Kenya in areas where you're making enormous progress, and we focus on what Kenyans can do for themselves in building capacity. On entrepreneurship, where Kenya's becoming an engine for innovation.
Tumeibiwa, tukaibiwa. Na wenye wametuibia ni wale tu, manyani wale. Mara watakuwa Azimio, mara sijui watakuwa Ford nini, na badia efisa. Death penalty on corruption. Manake ikiwa China wanakuja hapa kuchukua kazi yetu, lakini kwao ukiiba unanyongwa. Hii bangi ni kitu mzuri sana, manake iko pia na ile kitu inaitwa silk. Tutatengeneza kamba, tuitengeneze hiyo kamba ya kunyonga waizi. Atachukua katiba, nitauliza katiba, will ask parliament, wanipatia hayo mamlaka. Nikiwa commander in chief, wenye wameiba, wanajitetea, wakishindwa, nyongwe, Uhuru Park. Manake ukienda Singapore hakuna mwizi hata mmoja. Malaysia hamna mwizi. Uchina hamna mwizi. Hapa mimi ninaye singo ambaye anaweza kuchukua hatma alinde watu wazuri na wakora, mikora yote ni yetu. Wale watu ambao wamefungiwa katika jela kwa kuvuta tundu ya bangi, tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 wanatoka tu. Uwezi ukaenda ukafunga jamii mzima. Unamchukua mtu ambaye amepatikana na katundu, unaweka bail in 20,000. Bibi yake, watoto, wanaanza kuwa chokora. Alafu unasema the law is working. Banda askari yangu, mimi tawalinda, hiyo uniform inachoma tarehe 10. Na kila askari atapata haki yake. Na mimi vile nilikuwa kama nyinyi, najua tabu zenu nyingi kabisa. Hapa unaona kwamba askari hapa hawana nyumba. Askari hawana kitu chochote, hata mabusa yakija wanabeba kwa pikipiki. Watu wanadharau askari. Na mtu kama amejinyonga, unakimbia station kwenda kuambia askari kuja hapa, tafadhali nisaidie. Kama mtu amepigwa na gari dafrao kwa barabara, kiwa mlevi hapa na pale, amekufa, watu wanamkimbia, ni askari. Alafu mnadharau askari kama kitu kingine. Mnaenda kubadilisha askari kama wale watu wengine. We need to revert the police to where it was when Moi was the president of this country. Na namshukuru Moi, alikuwa anajua mastaili ya serikali ya polisi. Prison officers, teachers, walimu, nurses, mmechukuliwa tu. Lakini tukipanga kama hapa sasa, tuseme Mumias, hiyo mashini ilikuliwa na ilichukuliwa mpaka imetimuliwa. Hata Raila Odinga mwenyewe alete Kidero, mambo iliharibika huko, hajawahi kutuambia Kidero alienda wapi. Juzi ndiye amekuja na mwindi mwingine anasema sasa this is the investment. Mumias aliwauliza, Odinga aliwauliza ati huyu namletea ni mtu aina gani? Mlikaa na yeye muulize huyu mwindi kama ni Pakistani, Baniani ama Bangladesh.